Yes, indeed, they have, haven't they?
They have.
Welcome. It's What's Up and About since after over the weekend. I think this is kind of like coming from off of everything that happened to certain individuals over the weekend, and we had a very interesting conversation that ensued from there. So my weekend was very interesting. I think I did a lot of emotional unpacking. And by a long shot, it's actually helped me since then because I feel so relieved. And I'm talking about 30 years of carrying baggage. Perhaps maybe even more than 30 years of carrying baggage. I'm talking about childhood traumas. And whether you have them, in fact, not whether, but I insist that we all have childhood traumas that we're dealing with that affect our interpersonal relationship with people. Now, over the weekend, I got the opportunity to speak with members of my family, and I discovered that most of my aggression, and they will tell you that I grew up a very aggressive kid, or young adult, not anymore, stems from certain things that happened to me as a kid that were left unresolved up until over the weekend. And I'm wondering what we are allowing our kids experience or what we are allowing them resolve or what we are letting stay unresolved that might affect them in their later years. There's so much that you don't know is the reason for why you act a certain way. There's a reason why Winfrey here is very like about every like that's Winfrey for you. Winfrey doesn't get involved like I beg Jerry, the sun will rise tomorrow. She does. See, listen, it's from childhood.
She has a truckload of siblings.
It's from childhood trauma.
Truckload.
Yeah?
I'm sure you've got a couple yourself.
So I have one sibling, right? I have a brother. But then my mom has 3 sisters, right? And you probably note that I didn't say I have 3 aunties. So there's a reason why I say my mom has 3 sisters. It's because I wish we were closer. And I've over maybe the past 5-6 years, because of my kids, I'm trying to make sure that it is the auntie thing now. But there were just some things that happened when I was a lot younger that just didn't make me feel like encouraging it.
And see how you've redirected that into your adult life, and you've kept your family, your kids in this case, away from them.
Not kept away.
But now you're trying to reconcile.
It's not even reconciliation.
I mean,
this is making an effort to not allow things from the past affect,
but they already
kids'
have.
future.
But they already have.
But there's still time for change. There's still things you can change right now. That's what I'm saying.
Winfrey's like, hell with it all, I'm not changing. Aren't you?
So first of all, you think
Yeah, you've got a certain demeanor about you that is like, it's like I couldn't be bothered.
Really?
Yeah. She's not bothered about Nigeria, for instance. Nigeria is happening to people. Winfrey's like, I'm just sliding through life.
But I think it's very important that we note that, okay, so I think, I understand, I recognize the idea of traumas. But to be very honest, I think it is impossible for anyone to grow from being a child up to adulthood without having something that defines you. And I think most of those defining things are what we now refer to as trauma, probably when it's negative, right? But then again, we are human beings, and whether we like it or not, these experiences mold us and shape us into what we are right now. I went to a military school, for instance, right? And then, because I was very young, at like 11, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know what was left to me. But then again, I had to be strong, and and it literally I was bullied from when I was like in primary school. But now, there are certain things.
It's the ears.
Wow.
It's the ears, it's the skin, it's the whole lot of things. You understand? But then again, I feel we as adults are literally, as you said, fine, you unpacked a lot over the weekend, right? I think it's important that we literally get to a point where we realize, fine, you couldn't change what happened to you, right? But now you're at an age where you can change how you decide. And the first thing is self-awareness, right?
Very true.
Knowing where these things are coming from. I think I've literally identified a lot of things, especially now that I'm married. Like, some things that I just never bothered about. But now I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You have to, exactly.
The funny thing, there was something you said, I'm going to come back to it when I remember, but I realized that most of these traumas, well, parenthood, especially parenthood, has no manual. Our parents were winging it just like we're winging it.
Exactly.
Now, most of these traumas occur when you actually, as a parent or sibling, an older sibling or try to actually say, oh, this happened to me, I'm not going to let it happen.
Yes.
Aha.
Yes. So in a very funny way, it's like
It goes full circle.
It's never-ending trail of scatter.
So
you're trying to make
you're
it
now
not
trying to
happen, but you're
overcompensate.
actually now driving toward that exact instant you're trying to avert.
So I can remember people saying, my mom was a little bit more aggressive than, other members of the family. But the thing is, they didn't understand why. So she had grown up in the kind of environment where she had to be. She had to be tough. She had to defend herself. She had to speak up. But nowadays it's addressed as, why can't she just be a quiet old woman, and why can't she just be tame? But the thing is, you don't know what people have been through in their life
That's
to lead to
causing
that.
it. Yeah.
So for instance, myself, I wasn't really brought up in a sheltered or protected way. I was given a lot of exposure very young, meaning that I think in some ways I matured quicker than other people. So if someone is giving me a particular vibe or energy, negative energy, I just let it slide by.
Yeah, I see it.
Because
I actually see you do
see
that,
it,
actually,
it's
But
gone.
you let it slide by, but
Yeah.
it's still there in some dossier.
It depends.
You actually do keep it.
It depends. I don't keep it.
Yeah, well, it's in there. It's in there.
No, it's
You
not.
go through your Rolodex of offenses
It's
people have
not.
committed. Mazino.
And the black book.
It wouldn't be a Rolodex. But then there's no malice. There's no malice. But if you keep it in, it does become malicious.
And I feel like, talking from that point of malice and keeping things in and letting things slide by, I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that, my mom was a Margaret Thatcher. That was her nick, right?
Yeah.
And then my dad was a military man.
So you had the right you had the right to be
And
an Iron Lady.
So there's that, and then we are now in Deeper Life Church.
Wow.
So
And then you went to
there's no coming out of it. Do you understand?
Wow.
So to literally, as much as you see this, like a desical, there's some. I was literally talking to a friend, chatting with a friend over the weekend, and the person was like, literally, you're a strong person. I'm like, I don't want to be strong. You understand? Like, I don't know any other way to be. But then again, I love the contrast, and I like the person it has made me be.
Which is very funny.
and all
Best
of
man
that.
asked me on Thursday as we drove home together.
Yeah.
He said, Mazina, you're a strong... No, we're talking about strong people
Yeah.
and the effect of life on people.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, do you think I'm a strong person? I suspect that his answer was going to be yes. So I said to him, no, I'm not. There are literally times here where I look like this.
Yeah.
When I'm driving home, I'm recollecting everything and I'm like really torn. So in any case, it's something we all deal with.
I was gonna say for the kids now. So the kids that are growing up now in this environment,
Steady now.
they have a lot of exposure, especially online, to bullies that we know nothing about. And the truth is, you might feel you're protecting them yourself, but when they go out to school, they're
not
still
there.
you're not there. Someone in school could bring a device and they see some video or whatever, or that happens. So even if you don't give them access, they might find access some other way. It's how you treat them to deal with it that's the issue.
Yeah.
So I've started telling the kids to write letters.
To whom?
So if my mom upset one of my daughters recently, and I was like, you know what? Write how you feel down, so that if you feel you're up to it, you can show her. You can actually send her this letter and say, Grandma, this is how I felt when you told me this, and then you can have a conversation, because I needed her to get the emotions out.
Yeah, getting it out is actually very, very important.
I want to
because
write letter
it's
to my
keeping it in
mother.
there.
No, I understand where you're
I'm
going.
just
It's not a
saying.
Nigerian thing to do. But the thing is, at that point, I was at an event. I was on stage. I was like, you know what?
Just write
How
it
you
down.
feel? Write it down, so that it's not as if you've kept it in. You
So-
put it
so
somewhere.
You will write another letter.
Hey, you can write an
Acknowledging it
apology
like you
letter later, but at least you've let your mind.
So, in a summary, and to round this up, acknowledging is one thing.
Yes.
I don't know whether to call it confrontation. I won't call it that.
It's just acknowledging that the
Acknowledging,
emotions are real.
but the most important is reconciliation. If that is missing, then it's still there, and
Yeah,
it has
sure.
very, very bad effects.
And
Let me just put it that way.
I want to say this in
I
this.
was rounding up, but it's okay. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
So I'm just going to say
Unpack,
this.
unpack.
I just want to say this, right? We also need to understand the fact that, fine, as much as kids are literally growing up now and we don't want them to repeat the same traumas and cycles we've been through, it's very important to know that they also need to be in some tough situation,
Yeah.
so they know going forward when you're not there how to handle it. It's not safe to guard them or try to protect them from everything that hurts their feelings and all of that. If not, when they step out and go into the world, people are going to hurt them. Do you understand? They need to develop a backbone.
Yeah.
And I feel that's what the sternness from my growing up has given me. Now you cannot put me anywhere.
She might look
be
like she's
right.
soft, but she ain't fragile.
No, she's
In any
not.
case, thank you for your thoughts. Maybe you also have some opinion you want to share with us. Use the hashtag WakeUpNigerianTVC. However, I wanted to give a shout out to the efforts put in by Business Unusual. They have actually helped us put together the little, decor that you see behind us and around us. It's a very interesting body of people because it's not just here, it's all over the place,
Yeah.
even outside and
Yeah.
all. They've got an event coming up, I must tell, on the 6th and 7th of February here in Lagos. We're going to give you guys the details as the show progresses, but it's going to happen from 2024, Business Unusual. They have a very interesting theme here, disrupting the norm in decor business. You didn't think it was that big? Well, it's a big deal. So we'll let you know all the information about this summit coming up in just about a bit as the show progresses. Stay tuned. We've got more coming your way inside of Wake Up Nigeria.
Yeah.